Michelle.
Hey, what's up, Bob?
Welcome to the Ride Boundless podcast. Before we get started, I just want to mention Ride Clean. It's an all-purpose cleaner, made in America, filled in America. I've had this for about 5 years. Very simple to use. Simply shake, spray, and wipe, and bada bing, bada boo. Works on matte, chrome, all of the above. Welcome. You just drove in because you got off from work, and you were talking about how awkward driving a car is.
In the rain.
In the rain.
On the 101.
On the 101, during traffic,
Right.
on a weekday, rain,
What the
full
heck?
moon, who knows,
Right.
werewolves, zombies.
Everything you could think of.
Yeah.
I just resumed driving a car last year. I was out of commission for about 5.5 years. I got into not a motorcycle, but a car accident when I moved to LA. And since
Sorry about that noise. I don't know what's.
someone falling down. What happened?
It seems like it. Seems like it. I think it's the mail room.
Yeah. So I.
So you got in a car accident last year.
Yes.
And
Not last year. It was in 2017.
2017. Okay.
When I first moved to LA. It was after my niece's 16th birthday celebration, and yeah, on my way back home, I was behind a van, and they merged off of the shoulder, and I didn't see what was going on in front of them, so I rear-ended a Tesla.
Oof.
And it put me out of commission because I didn't have full coverage. So after that, I was just kind of like, well, guess I'm gonna have to learn the city through public transportation. And I took the bus, took the train, walked around half the time, and
It's a tough city to rely on public transportation.
absolutely.
It's better now, but it's tough.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are just 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're like, do I want to get off? Do I want to stay on? And it's are you getting off or are you staying on?
Yeah.
But after that,
What an experience.
Yeah, so about 6 months, I got fed up. I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to get a motorcycle. And
Yeah.
so I took my M1 course for the second time because the first time my family didn't want me to ride motorcycles. And so after
What?
that, yeah, Asian family. But they're like, we don't want our baby to be riding a motorcycle in LA.
Yeah.
But I took the course again, and after that, I passed class, took a train to San Diego, picked up a Harley 883 Iron, rode it back, dropped the bike on my way to work. Didn't even test ride the bike. I was just
Were you able to pick it up?
Someone helped me,
Yeah,
around the
the
street
first time.
corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure that was the last time anybody helped you pick it up, but
yeah.
but it happens.
Someone knew how hard I was struggling,
Yeah.
by how bad I dropped
She has
the.
no idea what that. She just bought that thing.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll
wow,
help.
this thing's 3 times her weight, so let me help a sister out.
Yeah.
But after that, I just I would go to San Diego. I'm from there, and I didn't really have many friends at the time when I started riding in the LA community. And there was one place in particular that I was just kind of my go-to place called the House of Machines.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember.
not sure if you've been there.
Yeah, of
but,
course. Right by it's interesting that they closed down and Bike Shed opened up. It's like a muscle move that Vicky and Dutch did or something.
Well, ironically, they're really good friends with Fiona and Chris Richardson, and Fiona's in charge of the events at Bike Shed.
I know Fiona.
So when I kept in
So
contact,
Fiona was over there at House of Machines.
her and Chris were
didn't know
managing that place.
I didn't know that.
They were my first friends in the motorcycle community, their whole entire staff.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, woohoo! Fiona, Chris!
We love you.
We love you, USA! That doesn't even make sense.
I know, where's the flag at?
Fucking wild. No, I didn't know that. I had been to the place. I'd been to the brewery. I've been to their events. I've been to a few of their concert or indoor bands. But I back then, I don't know. It was 6 years ago or something like that. I wasn't sure who was running the show.
Yeah.
You know,
So
why did they close? COVID, huh?
Yeah,
they didn't get
COVID.
past through COVID. It was during that time.
Well, it was just unfortunate because a lot of leasing owners were still expecting people to pay rent
Yeah,
when, places
people couldn't.
it was impossible.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, I stayed in close contact, and I was like, so what's next? And they're like, oh, we're friends with Vicky and Dutch. They're going to be opening a place soon called the Bike Shed. Just stay in contact with us. I was like, oh, okay, awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so there's just like friends that are family, and like it just evolved into like everyone that was just like regulars from there moved to Bike Shed.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like a little reunion. We're like, oh my gosh, I used to always see you like sitting by the wire, and it was.
I love the Bike Shed.
Me too.
I truly do. Are you a member yet or no? Not yet.
I'm not rich.
I think they have like, payment plans and stuff like that, but I do like it a lot. I like it a lot because I've always been like from the Harley background, and then I got into like the live wire, and then I got into the adventure, and like any biker just kind of gets into everything. But I truly had like 20 years of just Harleys, and but I never was like a huge fan base of like beers and just fucking not taking showers and just blah, like because I used to be the general manager for Harley Davidson, so I know who I'm dealing with.
That's funny how you mentioned you've been a general manager. I was a general manager at restaurants.
At restaurants
before I like transitioned out of that industry.
Yeah, so you know industry. What's up at a restaurant. Like, there are just certain things that
People management.
Yeah. Like, I had a buddy of mine. He worked at a restaurant. He's like, never order scrambled eggs. And I was like, why? He goes, because you don't know if you're getting the shell or the powder. And I'm like, what? Like, if it's cracked out of, what do you call it? The egg, or if it's the powder version.
Or if it's like out of a
or
milk carton.
Right. Right. Yeah. And exactly. And this was him telling me this like 20 years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like, so let alone what they have nowadays.
That's actually really funny because when I was learning how to be a hostess at a restaurant, like when I was new to the industry, they're like, oh, what are the different ways and eggs are prepared? And
yeah.
Like, I would not want to work at a brunch place.
Yeah.
Because people want them like poached, like soft boiled. They want them like medium. They want them like all sorts of things.
Excuse me, I thought I muted this. No, of course, there's so many different ways. As a matter of fact, I love the way I cook eggs. I make eggs. And I just saw a new Gordon Ramsay TikTok of how he was doing it, and I was like,
he's like whipping them.
Oh, dude, totally whipping it. And then not only is he totally whipping it, but like he adds the seasonings towards the end.
Huh.
So he goes, once you get your texture, once it's fluffy, then add your seasonings. And I was like,
a garnish.
It's like a garnish.
Yeah.
And it was game changer. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just the perfect, layered texture. Like it wiggled, just put on toast with some butter and just nom, 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 nom. So
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah. I'll send you that clip. I saved it. Yeah. He's been popping up on my feed. I like cooking. I mean, I don't like cooking. I just cook a lot. I cook enough that I don't like street food. I don't like street food. There's nothing that turns me like I only go to 2 spots right now. 3. Sushi, because this is Ventura Boulevard. I don't know if you're familiar with Ventura Boulevard, but it's a sushi capital.
Well, it's like my first time driving through here, and
really?
I was like, wow, there's a sushi spot at every street corner. Dude,
it's a sushi capital. I think there's like 400 sushi restaurants within like 4 or 5 miles or something like that. It's insane. But amazing sushi.
Have you ever done like a sushi tour?
No, that'd be a lot of sodium. No, it's right. I would love to. But they're all amazing. They're all amazing. Mm-hmm. So sushi, In-N-Out. I love fucking In-N-Out. I don't get bored of it. Like I was gonna post. I went today for lunch, and this is my shit. Like, tell me. And then today it looks so beautiful.
Ooh.
It looks so because they did the whole grilled onions, top, but it was so even. It looked like somebody was like, "What is that? Like, is that a slider or something?" I'm like, no. So I do In-N-Out, sushi, and then Starbucks, like, and I just do that for like the egg bites or like something quick on the road. That's the only things I eat out, and then of course Bike Shed, right, Dutch and Vicky. That's it,
Yeah.
But outside of that, I cook.
Cooked.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, cook. I have a 5-year-old. I cook for him all the time, so,
awesome. I don't have the pleasure of cooking at home often, but when I do, I really enjoy it. Yeah. I'm just kind of like on the go person, and like, it's funny how you mentioned Starbucks, because I worked with Starbucks for like 6.5 years. And
I'm just getting everything out of you. GM, restaurant, Starbucks.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you had a health issue recently, I'm seeing.
I did have one like in 2019. So
In 2019.
Yeah, so I was in the food and beverage industry for about 9 years, and in 2019, I survived an aneurysm, and not too many people are familiar with what aneurysm is.
Yeah.
However, when people learn about or know about aneurysms, they either know of someone, whether it's friends or family, they've heard of someone having one, but didn't have much information or education on it, or they've lost someone from an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And it's considered as a silent killer. And when I was managing a restaurant previously, working like 80 plus hours, 90 hours a week, like my whole health was just depleted. Like anything you could think of, just that to really take care of your health, whether it's hydration, nourishment, sleep, exercise. Like I did none of that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of reached this turning point where I was just working my butt off just to really build a team that would stay strong and like be willing to utilize me as their leader and just stay on board. And so when I was just building that retention, I was just taking a lot of pride in being this leader and managing all these people and just being in charge, but also making sure that I got to know them intimately and make sure I'm like, hey, I want to be on your team if you're on my team.
Yeah.
And it just really took me under. Thankfully, when I had my aneurysm, it happened at the right place at the right time. And I was at my niece's 18th birthday. And my family rented out a hall for her. For a Filipino family, an 18th birthday is considered as a debutante.
Yeah.
And
A debutante?
Debutante. And
all I know is that there's going to be a pig there, and there's going to be karaoke, and
dancing,
and
DJ.
a lot of alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plenty of that.
I used to live in Daly City,
Oh, nice.
so you know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Some people are like, what's Daly City? That's like the Armenians have Glendale, the Filipinos have Daly City.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
I live in Glendale right now, and I feel like I have an Armenian like community patrolling around my apartment complex because they really look out for each other.
Oh, big time.
But then of course there's like me and my roommate who are like both non-Armenian, and they're like, okay, we could help these people out.
Yeah.
They're like, they're nice.
Yeah.
Other than that, for my aneurysm, I was discovered in the restroom. So the night it happened, I was discovered in the restroom. I was unconscious. I was like collapsed over the women's restroom sink. And at that point,
the next morning, so hold on, time out. So your family rented a hall
for my niece's birthday.
For your niece's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And you were discovered the next day. No, okay.
This was the night of.
The night of. Okay. Whew, I'm
during
like,
this party.
I'm like, dude, you guys party hard. They found me a week
I didn't even
later.
have a drop of alcohol in my system at the time, but my friend, he provided wine for the event.
Yeah.
Because I helped him select wine for his wine company.
Right.
So he brought some cases of wine in, and at that point, I was like, okay, I looked at my cousin. I was like, you know what? I haven't tried this wine that I've selected. So I'm going to use the restroom. And when I come back, we're going to taste this wine. And sure enough, I didn't make it back.
Wow.
So when I was discovered in the restroom from my sister's friend.
But before, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to understand this. So now you go to the bathroom. Before you got discovered, what do you remember? Like, you know, you walked. Do you remember walking into the bathroom? Do you remember? You don't remember none of that.
I don't. I only remember the last sentence I said to my cousin before I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, but
and
that's it.
Yeah, all I remember was like, let's try this wine when I get back from the restroom, and I go to the restroom and I don't come back.
Okay, you don't know how you got to the restroom. You don't know what. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Now you're discovered, and somebody finds you in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. And so my sister and my brother-in-law, they're both ER nurses. So when
what Filipino yard nurses? No, nurses.
My brother-in-law's Mexican. Okay, he's a nurse.
I'm just kidding. No, I got a Cuban friend of mine that like his posse is all Filipinos, and then they work at hospitals.
They're hospitable.
They're super.
So after that, they.
Sorry, I'm trying to make the positive. You know.
That's great.
What is it? Today's
What's
miseries or tomorrow's, I forgot, stories, or today's miseries or tomorrow's stories.
Right. Yeah. So my sister's friend just pulled my sister aside, and they didn't want this whole I can't even talk. This whole situation to just disrupt my niece's celebration. They didn't want to be like, pause the DJ, stop what you're doing. We got to take Michelle to the hospital. My sister just like grabbed her friend. She's like, you're driving. We're going to the hospital. It's like a little over a mile away. My sister's friend just like lifted me into the car, drove me to the ER. And they discovered that I had an aneurysm. And having a ruptured brain aneurysm is, I'm not sure if you're very familiar.
I'm not. No, no, break it. What is it?
So
I know it's to do with the brain, the head, but like what causes it? What are signs of it?
So it's mainly caused by high blood pressure, but the arteries of the brain, if there's too much pressure, it expands and it runs out of space to expand. And what it does, it creates a bubble outside of that main artery, and that balloon, it pops, ruptures, and bleeds.
Oof.
So I had a brain bleed, and in order to stop it, the neurologist had to install a platinum wire coil in my brain to just fill in that space.
Yeah.
And just put a stent which will reroute the blood flow to just bypass that area.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Does it always happen on a certain part of the brain? Like, is it your prefrontal cortex? It could be anywhere in your brain.
It can happen anywhere. And shortly after I survived mine, I learned of 2 other people that had aneurysms and they didn't survive, but it was all based on the location, the amount of time it was bleeding, the severity of it, and also how
Their overall health, I would imagine, too, right?
exactly
How they
age,
yeah.
if they had any pre-existing health issues before it happened.
Yeah.
So I was extremely fortunate. My sister's friends were just like brought me to the hospital, and my brother.
They reacted. Yeah, they reacted properly and quick.
Exactly. And unfortunately, my poor brother's like the DJ, so he's just still playing the music.
Yeah.
So he's
But
like,
that's how it has to be. You know, like I told you, I've taken just a really quick thing. You know, I used to be a lifeguard, and you know we did first aid classes and everything, and a real basic thing was, if there's an emergency, you can't just randomly say somebody call 911, because nobody's going to call 911. Everybody's assuming that somebody
there's
else
not
is
enough time for that.
Not only there's not enough time for that, but if you did that, because that's a natural reaction, like help, somebody help, and they're just kind of yelling up in the air. You know, you need to take more control. You need to be like, you dial 911, you go and grab. You have to react. You just,
Absolutely.
yeah, you know, if you don't, it's life or death. You know, and that decision of is a professional decision of, hey, let's just get her in the car and let's just go. The hospital's a mile away, versus, you know, stop the music. What's going on?
Yeah.
Michelle's in the, you know, fuck, forget about it.
Exactly.
Like, forget about it. You know, and that's, those are the
time.
simple things. I'll give you another example. People say it's fight or flight, you know, but in most situations, people don't choose either one. They choose freeze, and they freeze, and that's like
panic.
They panic. They panic. They freeze. They don't know what to do.
And then there's no like solution at that point.
Right.
Because
And guess what? It's too late.
Yeah.
You know, because if it's something, you know, in a moving car, or, you know, on a motorcycle, you have to make these fast-paced decisions, and people freeze more than fight or flight. You know, so that I like to bring that up, because people, just fight. Yeah, that's you, and that's good that you promote that, but other people don't see it that way. So, anyways, good they did that. So you go to the hospital, you get like a blood blister in your brain. What part of your brain?
It's on my rear left side of the brain.
Rear left of your brain, and they have to go in there, clear out the blood, and then they filled in with a metal, or what was it?
Platinum wire coil.
A platinum platinum, not even metal, like me, metal. I'm like aluminum. No, you're like platinum diamond blade. So Filipino.
It's gotta be top tier stuff.
Yeah,
Come
top
on.
tier. I'm like a can, dude. Platinum.
Who do you think I
Yeah,
am?
what? I told you, 9 years in the restaurant business. Sucker. Like, I got good insurance.
Hey, you gotta stash your food somehow.
Come on. I feel like, see, we're making a good case about this. So what was that wire? Like, how did that work? That prevented it from blistering up again, or from leaking more blood, or was it continuously bleeding until you got to the hospital? So many questions.
It was from the ER. They had to expedite me to the specialty doctor once they determined that it was a brain bleed, in fact, because it's not, they don't have all the tools in the ER, so they just have to bring me to a specialist. And my brother-in-law, like,
ICU, right?
Yeah, my sister just like pushed my brother-in-law into the ambulance, and she was like, "Hey, you're riding with her, and he kept me stable." So after that,
and can you imagine, like, again, sorry,
he stuck a syringe into my leg to make sure that I'm not like flailing around.
Could you imagine if this happened during COVID?
Oh my gosh, that was just.
Could you imagine that?
That would
put her in a
insane.
fucking ventilator,
Well,
whatever. I mean, like, it could have been
during quarantine, you're not even allowed to have any family members to mobilize with you in the ambulances or even be at your bedside.
I know.
I've known of a few friends who've lost their family during COVID.
Within the family, we lost family like that during COVID.
Yeah,
which is crazy. This story sounds crazy. I know this is random, but this is what my podcast is all about. It's just fucking random. But my mom had a procedure that didn't go well years ago, long time ago, and they were like that's it. Like, that's it. And they pretty much, I forgot, I know it sounds weird, but like, I believe my mom, but for some reason, they weren't bringing as much food as they were supposed to, because they were like
that's
this is it, which is no good.
Absolutely not.
So my stepdad, he would go to fucking KFC. And this is how old, when KFC was cool. He'd go to KFC and just fucking wrap it in napkins and bring it to her. Stash it, yeah. And after like 3-4 days, they were like, what the hell's going on? like, she's doing better than like 3-4 days ago. And anyway, she got good. So weird, because of my stepfather's napkin wrapped KFC. But the reason I bring this up is because we had family on my wife's side that went to the hospital, 47, 48 years old. They put her on ventilators. None of the family could have saw her. It was certain phone calls, like FaceTime, and everybody's traumatized because the last conversations were like, I'm so hungry. They're not bringing me food. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry.
It's just like all the hospitals are full and there's not enough staff.
This is an Armenian family, and it's like the fact that you're saying no, like Armenians and hunger, that doesn't make sense to them. Like it's like, what? And she died. She died in the hospital. And my mom mentioned the story that it happened to her years ago. And I was like, oh my God, dude, if they starved her, that's fucked up. Regardless, it might be staff and everything else, but it's, dude, hospitals.
I had a Uber Eats McDonald's because...
You had Uber Eats McDonald's?
During my last week, because it wasn't enough calories. Like, the hospital food was just not enough. And I didn't want to divert you by any means.
No.
But when I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks, I was just kind of like in a medicated coma. Because for 2 weeks, I had no recollection of that. I didn't know until I woke up on the 3rd week that I was out for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And within those 2 weeks, I lost, due to the atrophy, I lost 20 pounds. I'm not even a big person.
Yeah.
I dropped down from 125 to 105.
Jeez.
I lost fat and I lost muscle. And within the 3rd week, I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to hold a pen. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to open a water bottle. I was so weak and frail from just being bedridden for 2 weeks straight. And people won't believe that because they see me now and they're like, oh my gosh, you're alive and you're moving and you're racing and you're on the track and you're going fast and you're on your motorcycle, but they don't realize just the recovery.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, like what it is.
Well, people don't realize what's going on in people's lives.
Absolutely.
Like I was talking. I won't get into it too much, but I was talking to Kiki. You know, everybody loves Kiki. Kiki, we love you. Bye, check, Kiki. We love you.
Right.
You know.
Try not to break your equipment here.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Don't worry, I'll keep your car. You know. You know, but just briefly talking to her, you just realize how much shit people are going through that nobody fucking knows.
Yeah. Well,
nobody fucking knows. And then I go through my shit, and I'm like, and then later on I think about my shit, and I'm like, dude, my shit's like dumb. You know, like, it's like sometimes like at that moment, it's like, at that moment, it's wait. At that moment, what am I gonna do next? You know, like what my life? You know, this is so terrible. But then it's like, dude, I got 99 problems, but like this ain't one. You know, like whatever you're facing, and everybody's going through some shit. Everybody, health, relationships, something.
Yeah.
But we look at our own things, and then people only see our Instagram account. And they're like, "Oh, Michelle's look at this. She's fucking."
Like people don't realize what's beneath the surface from how individuals perceive themselves on social media. Like,
but it's even crazier with the people you know that know you don't live like that. But you post those 3-4 pictures, and they're like, "Oh, you had a great fucking week, you know? Yeah, just living it up." You're like, bitch, like you fucking, you know.
I'm
what?
just trying to live it up because I might die tomorrow. Like
moment, man. Like that was like
freaking clap for me, damn
that
it.
was Saturday for 1 hour, you fucker. Like the whole week sucked. You know, like whatever.
You're like, you know what? I've had a terrible week, and this is my one moment to shine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Fuck you. Did you like the post? Did you repost?
Did you double tap?
Did you repost it, you fucking hater?
Did
I
you
put on my
give
story.
me heart eyes or
I
what?
saw you view it. You motherfucker. Like,
why you creeping with no reaction? Come on, show me
fucking,
some love.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly.
Why? But yeah, people see that. So back to what you're saying, you know, like you're racing, you're on top of your shit, you're posting, fucking different motorcycles, which I want to get into. What bikes are you riding? I know. I saw the BMWs. You started. Whose GS was that? Because that was the trophy edition BMW GSA, right? Was that the 1300? Love that fucking bike. Was that GSA or GS? That was GSA. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love that bike.
Yeah, they're
crashed mine. First accident in 23 years.
I mean, I think it's time for you to get a 1300.
I know.
I know someone.
You know some? Are you getting rid of yours?
I don't even own one.
Oh, I know, but whose bike was that? What was going on?
So I was invited by my dealership, BMW Motorcycles of Riverside.
Love them over there.
And they, the owner, Dan, he pretty much told me, he's like, hey, BMW's having their first Motorrad days in Americas, or in the U.S. ever last year. And so...
Sorry. One man show with the cameras and the recording.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So he reached out to me. He was like, hey, Michelle, I would love to invite you to join us at my VIP table at the first BMW Motorrad Days, which is in conjunction with the Vintage Motorcycle Fest at Barber.
Right.
So at Barber, I've always dreamed to go there because have you seen the museum? Have you been out to Barber at all?
No, is that the where they have like the motorcycles by age?
That and like they have.
No, that's in Texas, though. Museum.
Oh, they have like 5 floors of just. It's like one of like the largest motorcycle automotive museums.
No, I got to get hooked up with them.
So I agreed to go just because not only was I flattered because I was like, wow, no one's ever asked me to attend like the first BMW annual like Motorrad celebration in the U.S. ever, because they do it in Germany every year, but it looks like the whole entire community just stops just to celebrate motorcycles.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible experience, and I was really grateful to like be out there and just meet a lot of the executives and
Hell of an
people
experience, yeah.
people that I've met along the ways. A lot of the ambassadors were there, and just show up and represent my dealership. But I own a 2023 BMW R9T. I had a
Awesome bike.
I had a 2021, but someone hit me not too long ago, and then in October, and then before that I had a 2019 R9T Pure, and someone clipped me on the freeway.
Jeez.
So it's just like years of like gradual upgrades.
Right.
And I finally got the one that I ultimately wanted. Was like, it's like the 719 option, and it has like the brushed aluminum, and it has like all the features on it.
So sexy.
Oh yeah.
So fucking sexy, yeah.
So I got that, and right off the bat, I asked a tuning company called BT Moto to tune my bike, and so they were kind enough to utilize my bike for a YouTube video and review for the R9T. And after that, I was like, well, you know what? If I make, if I introduce myself and I meet other manufacturers within the industry, like I would love for people to utilize my bike as a prototype. And so I just ask around and see, like, hey, I want to try your products, see how it works, like, see how I could encourage other people to buy your product, like, and so I enjoy promoting people's products as a salesperson, even though I no longer work in sales. But
especially if it's a cool product.
Yeah, my dealership was kind enough to offer me other bikes to just take out, like demo bikes. I took the M1000R to a car show last June, and I also took the XR. I pretty much test rode almost all of their bikes. I worked with their demo team in Sturgis a couple of years back for like 2 weeks, and I was part of like the demo fleet. So I had the opportunity to like take a bike home every evening and like ride it through the back roads of South Dakota and go through some like twisty roads. Even though I was tempted to take it off roading when I had the GS, but I wasn't allowed to bring it back dirty. So
yeah,
but. Overall, BMW has really been helpful for me and just like my recovery, especially at the racetrack. And a week before I had my aneurysm, I went to the track for the first time, and I was just so eager and enthusiastic. Like, I want to meet like the best of the best. I want to race with pros, not race, but learn from the pros, essentially. Yeah. And I just kept gravitating towards that. And after I got out of the hospital, I had this like chip on my shoulder where I was like, the reality of surviving an aneurysm was that it was a reality check for me, and it was my body to remind me like, hey, death was so close, but you didn't cross that line. So now it's time for you to take care of yourself. And so at that point,
or get fucking crazier.
And get wild.
And get crazier. Quick question, talking about the aneurysm. Is there... When is there moments that you should worry about it more than others? Like, for example, like if you were doing a high-speed race and your blood's like pumping like that, or at the gym, or sleeping, or it could just kind of happen anywhere, any place.
It could happen at any
does something
given moment.
elevate it more than others? Like if you're doing a marathon, I'm sure it's probably going to be a little bit higher if you even have chances of it, or maybe not. Maybe because
thankfully I did a marathon, like marathons before this all happened, but I got that out of my system.
Yeah.
But I would say like high intensity workouts, I just monitor my blood pressure, and even if I'm at the racetrack and I feel like it's elevated, like I usually just kind of like take some moments to myself to just practice my breathing and just lower my blood pressure, stay hydrated, have some snacks, add some energy, not necessarily energy, but just provide myself a sufficient amount of fuel that will just allow me to just kind of let my blood pressure settle. Yeah. So I had to, after I had the aneurysm, it was just like, if you could imagine putting your brain on like a factory reset, and you have to like relearn everything. how you process information, how you retain information, how you write information, how your brain absorbs it. And
That's so crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, Control Alt Delete.
exactly. You're like if you're, I mean, not necessarily getting like the black screen or anything and having to restart, reboot, but once you have to reevaluate your life and just rebuild it all over again, having that full reassessment helped me determine how my body operates, how it reacts, whether I'm like weightlifting, whether I'm doing cardio, and and also practice my breathing techniques that will help lower my blood pressure. And thankfully,
Meditation.
exactly. And
So immediately you get out of the hospital, let's just say a month or two afterwards, what immediately changed that you kind of picked up, it's a habit now, and you would recommend it to people? Like, is it jogging more meditation, fatty foods, less fatty foods, sugars, like junk food, cocaine. I don't know, like fucking get drunk every day. I'm kidding. But what was
Coke was an option, I'm telling you.
Dude, the good old days. Yeah, rock and roll. That one's for you, Kiki. But like, what was the immediate change? Did anything extremely change? Like, did a 180 compared to how you were living your life prior?
Absolutely. I didn't, because it happened during the summertime. It was like July 27th of 2019. I didn't want to see my friends enjoy riding their motorcycles and going on epic trips. And I didn't want to be, I like shunned away from social media. I like isolated myself, and I've developed like anxiety and depression because I was like, wow, I'm not even sure if I'm capable of riding my motorcycle again. The one thing that I absolutely love and that I'm like really passionate about and like that really just soothes my brain and clears my mind. That one thing that really helps you just puts all the stress and pain away and just like lets you focus on yourself. And so a few months after that, I was just like reading, writing, spent a lot of time on my sister's couch. I was living with my sister, husband, and like my 4 nieces at the time. So I committed to just like spending more time with them and focusing on my nieces. But yeah, there have been an occasional, I'll get brain fog very frequently. Processing and comprehending music was very difficult for me. And
What do you mean? Like listening to it or playing it?
playing it.
Because you had used to play it prior?
Yeah, I was playing the piano since I was about 12 years old.
And then getting back into it, you were having brain fog?
Yeah, just the muscle memory in general was very off. Like I couldn't ride a skateboard. I was very off balance. When I was learning how to walk again, there were moments where I was just overconfident. I was like, yeah, I could walk, and I'm pushing a shopping cart. Like one day I was with my sister at Walmart, and I was pushing a shopping cart, and I just like looked at her dead in the eyes, and I was like, I can't walk. And my niece is sitting in the shopping cart. My sister pulls a pillow and puts it in the shopping cart, and she's like, here, sit inside. My sister's like literally pushing me and my niece around in the shopping cart.
No. Well, thank goodness you're like a
I
buck
couldn't
10.
walk.
But thank goodness you're a buck 10 or a buck 15, whatever you were at that point. Because like imagine being like 250 pounds and you're like, I can't walk, or being like 6 foot tall and you have that and you're like, oh, dude.
My sister would have to like phone a friend just to get me out of there.
Yeah. If you're at Costco and you get that big fucking anyways. Yeah. So
wheelchair, please.
so muscle memory, balance, I wanna sound all creative and use that one fucking balancing brain word. Your what's it called when you're like main gyroscope of your fucking balancing? You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But I just
the fact that you're doing
gyroscope.
this motion is like a teeter-totter, right?
Yeah.
You're like
your gyroscope, but it's not a gyroscope. It's in your iPhone, but the one inside the human body, yeah, that motherfucker. So that thing wasn't working, huh?
No, it wasn't.
Just ran at random times.
Yeah, and it was just, It was excruciating to not be in full of control of
And very frightening, I would imagine, because you don't
being
know when
able
it's
to
going to take
mobilize
place.
everything. It's like my brain's telling me, "Oh, I could pick this up," and then like the moment I do this, I'm like, "No, I can't," or like I can't open a bottle of water. I'm like, "Wow, I'd love to drink this bottle, but I can't even open it." So there were definitely a lot of moments where I just felt very disabled.
How much? I'm sorry, this might be a stupid question, but how much now, looking back at it, how much would you say is willpower or like your own mind was like you can't do it, but it was more your mind, not necessarily physically, because I'm sure a lot of it's physically where it's like you just kind of don't know how to operate your hands or your fingers or whatever the case is, but looking back, was any of it mental, or was it all?
Always.
Oh, it was always mental, huh?
Yeah, especially when
See, it wasn't a stupid guess.
it isn't
Yeah,
a
sorry.
stupid question because my neurologist also happens to be a motorcyclist as well.
Yeah,
And within like my last week, I kept telling I had two neurologists that both ride motorcycles, BMWs, by the way. So, but I kept asking him, like, am I going to be able to ride my motorcycle again? Because that's like everything to me is riding my motorcycle. And they just reassured me. They're like, yeah, you're going to be back on your motorcycle.
that's awesome.
And as I was getting like my final checkups, my sister asked my main neurologist that helped install the coil in my brain. She was like, "Hey doc, all my sister wants to know is if she could ride her motorcycle or not." And he was like, "Well, what motorcycle do you have?" I was like, "I got a BMW." He's like, "Really? Me too. Take my number down. We'll go riding." And so I had the pleasure of riding with him a few times, and then
So cool.
I started learning more about him, and I was like, "Hey, so I just started riding at the racetrack." And he's like, "Oh, I ride at the racetrack too, and so does the other doctor." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that'd be amazing if we could go riding someday." But he just retired like a couple of years back, so my ultimate goal is to ride with him on the track. I think that would be incredible.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Yeah. Does the fact I'm sure you've messed around with electric bikes, right?
I have.
Like live wires and stuff like that, where no clutch, no one down, five up. None. Is that easier on your brain, or are you? Because I imagine you're gonna agree with what I'm gonna say right now, which is regardless of the motorcycle that I ride, I feel like I'm one with it. Like it's all one. Like like I've been riding for so long, there is no difference. But I know for people that there is a difference. Like an
Absolutely.
electric bike is nothing, and shifting and clutches and everything else is everything.
I
You
would
know,
say, like with electric motorcycles, there's an advantage for motorcyclists that don't have the capabilities of utilizing every single component, whether it's the clutch, the shifting gears, and not everyone has those capabilities to operate it. So with electric bikes being an alternative, I think it's like a great opportunity for people who can still resume riding motorcycles and not have to deal with like the strain of, you know, pulling in the clutch and like having to shift gears and like it's remarkable how technology has made that it's just provided an allowance for motorcyclists to still be capable of riding, whether they feel like limited or not in terms of like strength or overall handling. And everyone that owns one, I'm like, dude, you're on two wheels. Like, I'm stoked for you. It's fun.
it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's
And they race them on the track. It's so cool.
it's so cool. It's so cool. I had Darren Sorrentos. Yeah, Derek Sorrentos. Darren or Daryl? Sorry, Mr. Sorrentos. Major Sorrentos. He was a Air Force pilot, fighter jet
Nice.
pilot, and he was talking about how when you fly a jet, and he's all into like electric motorcycles and motorcycles. He was talking about when he flies a jet, how fucking 3-dimensional it is, obviously, because when you drive a car, it's like 2-dimensional. It's left, right, straight, but an airplane's like up, down, up, da, da, da. And I asked them,
There's a lot of variations in direction on an airplane.
Oh yeah, well it's 3-dimensional.
Exactly.
And a car is 2-dimensional.
And visibility. Yeah.
And visibility, But I asked them, I go, hey, dude, like personally, I feel like a motorcycle is pretty 3-dimensional. He goes, absolutely. He's like 100%, because you have now tilt into it. You have cornering. You have angles. You have, when you're splitting through traffic, you're hitting, you're passing this mirror, you're passing that mirror, you're, somebody's front tires turning towards your way, so you got to look that way. Like, you're just paying attention to so many different things that it's very 3-dimensional, and it's the closest thing that he describes as a comparison to flying a fighter jet pilot. That's like, incredible. Boom.
Wow.
That's a mouthful. Fighting fighter. I'm not even gonna try anymore.
Jet planes.
Yeah, jet planes. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was super awesome because there is an excitement about riding motorcycles. And like I said, I've been riding for like 23, 24 years. I just had my first motorcycle accident ever on a GSA ever. Oh. And, it happened.
You need a new one.
I know. $18,000 of damage on a GS fully caged up with lone rider bags and everything else. Like, yeah, pretty fucking bad. But I walked away and jumped on a fucking flight, jumped on a 16-hour flight afterwards the next day.
What was that? Oh, I was going to say, were you on the way to the airport?
No, it was a day before.
Whoa.
Yeah, but anyways, there's just something so exciting about riding, motorcycles, and doing it in different countries. Now, were you born in the Philippines or in America?
America.
Yeah. No, and the reason I asked that is because in the Filipinos, in the Filipinos, ha 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 ha. In the Philippines, they ride a lot of scooters.
Oh, yeah.
In a lot of countries, they ride a lot of scooters and motorcycles. It's like in America, it's like, oh my God, it's so dangerous. But South America, everybody rides a scooter.
Yeah, my dad my parents went to the Philippines a couple of years back, and my uncle rides a motorcycle, and he took my dad on the back of the motorcycle, and he showed me a video, and he's like, "Don't tell your mom," but
that's funny.
He filmed being a passenger, on the back of the scooter.
That's another thing that
and they're just weaving through. There's no stoplights. People make space. They just create space to just squeeze through. There's no lines on the ground at that point. It's you're just.
I was in India, and Mumbai, and it looked the closest way of describing it. It looked like salmon. Everybody on bikes and these little carts with 3 wheels. It looked like salmon, and there'd be an old lady crossing the street, and it was going through, and it's a miracle. I have a video from a bus, and it looks like. That's wherever they can just go through.
Everyone's just squirming around.
You throw a rock in the middle and just it's crazy. And the amount of people is so many. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. But yeah, around the world, a lot of people fucking ride.
I haven't had the pleasure of riding internationally. However, my dad was in the Navy. Not yet, exactly. My dad was in the Navy. So
where was he based?
Hawaii,
nice.
South Carolina, where my sister was born. He went up the coast. My brother was born in Oakland before they closed that base. But I was born in San Diego. So after my parents chose San Diego over Alaska, and I lived there my whole life until 2017.
Coronado, right? That's where the base is at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coronado.
There's one there. Mm-hmm. It's Coronado Island, where all
Coronado
military.
Island, yeah.
All the retirees have their bougie mansions that they rebuild every 10 years.
Nice.
Because they can.
Poor guys.
Must be a rough life, right? It's I gotta rebuild our home again.
Yeah.
Native Coronado folks.
Did you ever join the military? No.
I did not.
No.
I after my dad just kind of going on deployment as a kid and leaving home and coming back, and my mom just raising me and my two older siblings, I didn't think I really wanted to have that much separation from my family if I decide to have family.
Yeah.
And also, I've had friends that survived, and then some people that didn't make it, and just like everything after the military, with even my friends who ride that are like veterans and whatnot, like they would mention like, yeah, I put in so many years of my life into the military, but like the trauma that's associated with it is it could be very unbearable for some people. And
Yeah.
I was like,
No, for sure.
I don't know if I could manage that, because I was such an emotional person, like taking care of my grandmother in high school, raising my niece when I was like 14, 15. And I was just so committed to my family. That's why I was like, I don't know if I want to do this military thing, but I have an appreciation for it because of my father. And so
Yeah.
he put in 20 years. And after that,
Thank you for your services. That's amazing.
I know. My dad is just, he is
That's
like
amazing. Yeah.
best grandpa ever. But he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about like mechanics and just really honing in on like knowledge on just like machines and cars and using my hands, and like, not everyone has that opportunity to have that bond with their fathers. So I was very fortunate to have that with mine, and he loves photography too. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So other than that, family.
Family's amazing. What's next? I mean, what are your plans? Next 5 years. What are you writing? What are you doing? What are your goals?
Man, I just want so.
Or you just want to enjoy life and just kind of take it easy?
It's funny because I'm out of my three siblings, I'm like the only sibling that's not married or has a significant other. I don't have any children. So I'm just like the single, like youngest, like the single daughter of three, the baby. That's just like riding motorcycles and like traveling and like going motorcycle camping and just going on adventures. And like one day I'm like riding dirt bikes in the mountains, and the other I'm just like on the racetrack, just like scraping my knee on the tarmac, like. And so of course my niece is just like, wow, she's freaking awesome. I like to set that example for my nieces, to just kind of uplift them and let them know that there is a fierceness inside of them, that they could be much like stronger. And girls are just, they're all growing up, and I'm seeing their personalities evolve, and I always want to set a good example for them.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see myself traveling internationally and just writing, honestly. Like I may not work in like in the motorcycle industry as of right now, but ultimately, if there's an opportunity out there, and companies just kind of like, hey, we want you to go to this country and just explore and ride a motorcycle.
I think it's kind of fucking easy, especially for you. Like, just fucking start a website.
Know.
Dude, get your website, get
I
your
don't
camera.
have like 100,000 followers on Instagram.
It doesn't matter. Start your fucking blog and start blogging everything. You have access to the guys in Riverside. I bought my motorcycle from those guys. Those guys are super cool.
I did.
I bought five or six motorcycles from them.
Did you buy one from Jeff? Or
I gotta look. I forgot.
I'm just firing off the entire staff.
No, I bought mine in December 2019, right before COVID. I don't remember who it was.
Was a tall gentleman?
Yeah, tall, skinnier American dude.
It's probably Jeff.
Yeah, it probably is Jeff.
Okay.
I think both. I know them both. But I forgot who directly sold me the bikes. But we worked a deal. We wanted to buy 5 bikes.
Nice.
So a group of us rented some bikes from Eagle Riders, and we went to Joshua Tree. And we were all riding Harleys before that. And up to that point, like, that's all I rode was Harleys. And I've had, like, every bagger, I've been dying.
Do you have it, like, tattooed on your body somewhere?
No.
I wasn't sure
no tattoos.
How hardcore you are.
Harley Davidson, fucking HD. I'll tell you a funny HD story. I was at the dealership. When I worked at a dealership, there's this joke that HD, once you buy a motorcycle, a Harley, you realize HD stands for hundreds of dollars, because every time you go to the dealership, it's
I learned that.
Yeah, HD. So one time I saw this bike to this older gentleman, white beard, tatted, Harley Davidson. He had a Harley Davidson dealer before he's even had a Harley Davidson, right?
You mean a Harley Davidson tattoo before he made it to the Harley Davidson dealer?
Yep. So this guy, I sell him a bike, and like 2-3 weeks later, he comes into the dealer, and I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. He's like, hey, man, I know what HD stands for. And I'm like, hundreds of dollars. He goes, nope, hard dick. And I'm like, what? He goes, when I ride my bike, my dick is hard. I'm like, dude.
Whoa. I get that you're like riding.
Excited, bro, but like, watch
You're riding a vibrator, but we don't need to know all that information.
That wasn't the bike, bro. That's the point.
That is not how we upsell our product.
Yeah. Keep that shit out. But the guy was like,
But not all riders are men.
yeah. That's gay.
Where do you get the D
That's
from?
gay, bro. But no, Riverside people are cool. BMWs are awesome. Harley's awesome. I don't even know where I was going with this. Where am I going? Oh, start a blog. Start a blog page and fuck it. Just you have the guys at Riverside. Let them borrow your bike. Do a review. Set some pictures. And post about it, and that's it. Very simple. You do this 10, 15 times, reach out to some people, and guess what? You're going to have your fucking first trip to Africa or something like that.
We'll see about it.
Yeah, because that's something that I've kind of been wanting to do, but then, like, I haven't even committed to it, because if I did, I would just fucking start doing it. We all have contacts, and like, hey, let me borrow your bike. I'll do a quick review or something,
Yeah,
So totally. So
there's
that's
definitely been people who have asked me previously, like if I have either a podcast, a YouTube webpage, or anything like that. And I just reached this turning point from this past year, and I noticed that manufacturers like gravitate more towards motorcyclists that have a huge following. And
of course.
because I'm not a full-time like social media content like provider. They recognize like me as like a good rider, and they know that I can manage bikes on different levels and different terrain and like on track or whatever. But I think that was just kind of like my downfall, where I was like, okay, I don't have as much following, but I don't want to focus on like being just the committed full-time content creator. Like I enjoy just supporting and promoting like events and attending like and supporting my friends who have like really good businesses that are like succeeding, and just I want to be a part of that, and I want to support them and uplift them, and without even expecting anything. I'm not expecting for people to like pay me to just like post about stuff, but now I've just kind of changed my vision, where I was like, okay, well, if I really have to put myself out there, be a part of your podcast, I was like, hey, you know what? I think people should know a little bit more about not just me as an individual, but how I could relate to some people as a motorcyclist, whether they're going through health issues or they've survived cancer, which is incredible, because I've met some really amazing like motorcyclists that overcome like their health obstacles. And they utilize motorcycles just to really bolster their own personalities and put them in a state of just pure happiness. And I don't know too many people that could achieve that in a car. But because I've immersed myself,
you can.
Because I've immersed myself in motorcycles, I just love to hear about people's like health stories.
Well, I think what this reminds me of is those stories that you always hear about, where a person gets diagnosed with like severe cancer, and they have like 6 months to live, and they quit their job, they cash out their 401k, or they cash out all their fucking money, and then they just drop all responsibility, balls out, and at the end of 6 months they're fucking fine. Like they survive, and you do get that from bikes, motorcycles, without cashing out your 401k, and it's a lot cheaper, and, and you live your life. But I think people that do like the van life temporarily, not a lifestyle, but like or people that go on those off-roading things, or start traveling, it's back, and I've mentioned this many times on the podcast before, but I think it's so important. It's back to when they did the surveys on people on their dying bed, and You know, they asked what were your biggest regrets, and you know, number one was not quitting their job on time. You know, having that 50, 60 hour work week for, you know, 20, 30 years and not, you know, doing anything.
Grinding away.
Like when you think of those situations, you gotta understand people work like that, and their highlight is taking a shit and checking their social media, like to just you know, sit in a little. Oh yeah, what's going on in the world? Like that's a highlight because that's an escape compared to like the drive to work, dealing with people you don't like get along with, and then like being hungover from the week, like whatever the case is, it sucks. And people don't quit their job on time, and that leads to high blood pressure, that leads to bad eating, that leads to bad health issues, that leads to exhaustion, and then you don't go to the gym because of, you know, which is weird because if you don't go to the gym, it kind of like cancels itself out, you know, but it promotes so many negative things that it just fucks with people.
Yeah, I noticed the owner of my current company, I work for a construction company, and the owner even mentioned to me, he's like, there are people that work at a job till they retire, go to their office, come home from work and everything. But some people, their lifestyles diminish after work because they no longer have that consistent routine of like getting up, moving, and once you lose that, that's when your health could either diminish, or if you're working like crazy or you're not even taking care of yourself. Like me, on the other hand, it's like dehydrated, malnourished, insufficient rest, lack of exercise, just like every single element you need to really nurture your body and make sure that you're in good health. And I just totally neglected all of that. And so just having the second opportunity to live a more fulfilling life was just, it was my saving grace, honestly. And it allowed me to have a better perspective on everything that I value in life, like who I put my energy into, who I support, who do I encourage, or who do I keep in my little inner circle. And once you've already developed that core, then you could focus more on being better for yourself. And I think I felt, because I was such a giver before I had my aneurysm, I always wanted to like give everyone 110%, and I wanted to make sure that I committed my time and energy to like make them happy. But when it came down to it, after my health just diminished, it's like, oh no, actually I need to stop and sit down and really take care of myself. And
That makes so much sense.
once you hit a wall and you're like, wait a second, will these people help me be a better person? Will these people improve my health? Can I count on them to make sure that I'm not just sad and depressed and laying in bed all day and just sleeping for days straight? Like, it's all up to you. And when you change your mentality and you transition your mindset and you just cultivate a healthier lifestyle, it really amplifies how you perceive the world as a whole, but also you allow yourself not to let any negative energy disturb your peace.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting because sometimes you have to go through an extreme event, like yours event, to come to that conclusion or that realization of you need to learn, and I've preached this before too, you need to learn how to say no or stop to certain people. Absolutely. You know, because there's a young, naive part of us that we just want to kind of like please everybody, and we're like, yeah. And I get what you're saying, because, you know, my yes is pretty fucking solid, and it's so solid that it's scary, because I know if I say yes, I'm gonna lose sleep over it. I'm gonna like be obsessed with it. Shit, I said yes tomorrow at 10, but then the traffic, I gotta be at 8:30, but then I gotta have my car.
It's running through your mind, so you don't sleep well.
So you don't sleep well.
Yeah.
That yes.
That's what happens to me when I
know,
go to the track.
I know. I'm just hearing it from you, I'm like, that's what happens.
That anticipation builds so much.
So much. And it's like, you know, I'll bring this up. Like I have somebody in my group that I cut out of the group. I cut this person out of the group, and I had a clear talk to them of why I'm cutting them out of the group, and done. I finished. They're out of the group. Yes, they're out of the group. Done. And like a week ago, they hit me up and they pleaded like, "Hey, dude, like,
I miss
it was it didn't mean much to me to be part of this group until I realized I didn't have it, and now I see what it means to you guys. You know, like the showing up on time and this, that, and the kickstands, blah 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 blah. I get it, and I'm taking it serious now. And I worked on the stuff on this, and I did that, and I was like, all right, you know, like, okay, all right. Brought him back on the group, and after
You're very forgiving, by the way.
I am.
I'm
I
hard
am.
on people. I'm very cut and dry. If
I
I say no, I will. I will sever our friendship and
I was
never turn
no
back.
because of, you know, X, Y, and Z, and they took care of X, Y, and Z, and I was like, all right. I let them back in the group, and after one ride, I just took them out of the group now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I haven't had the conversation of why I took them out of the group, even though they know why I took them out of the group. But I still feel like I owe an explanation, even though I owe no fucking explanation. But it's just daunting in my fucking brain that I have to just...
You need to unload that to have clarity.
Yeah, thank you.
And just make peace with letting them know exactly how you feel and put it out there and just get it out of your head.
That's fucked up because it's just exactly what you're saying. It's just in my
I
fucking
can relate.
head.
I didn't like remove someone from a group because I don't have like a huge core group anyway, but I know what it's like to end a friendship.
I don't either. I don't either, but you know, like I'm pretty fucking busy, you know, I'm ready, like, you know, I got life. There's
Time is
life.
valuable.
And
precious.
And these rides, the thing that's unique about my rides is they start really early in the morning, like stupid early in the morning, and they end pretty
like 5 a.m.
Like get up at 5 and we're meeting at 6 a.m. or something like
That's
that.
fine.
You know,
I'm up at 4:45 at every morning. So.
You know,
Maybe I should join you.
You probably should. And by 11 or 12, we're done.
You got the rest of the day.
We have kids. Like we have,
you know, responsibilities.
I got responsibilities.
Yeah.
I get one day to ride, you know, like this, that. Like previous to 2 years ago, I rode every single day. My BMW was a 2020, and I bought it with 2 miles on it.
Nice.
I got into the accident.
You rolled it out of the crate and put gas.
Straight out. I spit in the gas tank. I pissed in the gas tank and whatever, you know. And I had the accident June last year. I had 32,000 miles on that. And I didn't go on any trips. I haven't been on any trips. That's just L.A. That's just L.A. I think I went to Palm Springs. Oh, poor bike. I think I did.
Sad.
I think I went to Vegas. No, what do you mean poor bike? I rode it. You know how many people have?
No, I'm glad you rode it, but you didn't take it camping through Baja like I have.
No, nothing.
You haven't touched any national parks on that thing.
On that bike, no, nothing.
I'm crying inside.
Straight out. I think I did Palm Springs once, and I did Vegas once, and that was it. The rest was L.A. riding, 32,000 miles.
Whoa.
Splitting lanes, on sidewalks, going up the mountains and cutting through traffic and on cars. That's it. So I rode. Where am I going with this? Anyways, so where I'm going with this is that I would ride every single day and I put 32,000 miles on that one. On the Streak Light at the time, I put 12,000 miles, you know, and they're both 2020s. And then I have a live wire, and on a live wire, I didn't put many miles on that. But the thing is, I would ride every day. Now, I only have like Saturday or Sunday where I have like 5-6 hours. If you can't follow these little fucking rules of show up on time, kickstands up at this,
then don't show up.
Dude, don't, like, I'm sorry, like,
you don't want to inconvenience everyone's time just because you can't show up on time.
Especially if there's like already, you know, the group's already growing and there's already, you know, a set amount of people that are okay with these rules. And so anyways.
You don't want to throw everyone a curveball.
Not exactly. but now we
but
get that.
But also make everyone wait for you.
For one person. But the point is how this conversation started, which is sometimes you have these fucking decisions just occupying your storage, your hard drive in your brain, and it's just fucking daunting, and you're not satisfied until you have this fucking conversation. You get stuck to it, you know? And then it goes back to no is so powerful. People, and I always preach this, people respect the no more than a yes.
Of course.
people respect it no more than a yes. Because when you say yes, they're just like, oh, cool. And then if you say yes again, like, oh, cool. Like, I'll never forget this story. And this has to do with the yes, but it's a little different. I was playing basketball when I was like 13, 14 years old. And
Me
this
too.
kid, high five.
Hell yeah.
Of course, you're Filipino.
I didn't make it to the WNBA, but hey,
Neither did I.
I had skills back then.
I had crazy skills for my height and I was badass. Anyways, this kid slaps my hand and I was wearing like this gold Casio watch. He was trying to block me and the watch opens up, falls, cracks. And this guy's like, no, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, it's okay. And,
You didn't punch him in the face, did you?
No. Check this out. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, bro. I go, hey, dude, let's just play, man. Let's have fun. He goes, but your watch. I go, it's okay. Like, it's fine. You know, like.
Just buy me a new one. Fine.
No, I did not give a fuck. Like, I just wanted to play basketball. I had so much fun playing basketball. This guy apologizes like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, dude, it's cool. You know what he does? Oh, it was broken already, huh? I go, wait, what? He goes, your watch was broken. You don't care that it was broken. I go, dude, I just want to play, but the watch was not broken. You broke it, and I'm just being cool about it. Let's just move on. He goes, yeah, right. Your watch is broken because if it wasn't broken, you would have cared right away. And I'm like, dude, I just want to fucking play.
Yeah.
And we all of a sudden we're getting into an argument.
Oh,
That
no.
he thinks now I'm lying when I just want to fucking play. And I was like, dude, it's cool. And my point is that yes turns into that where people just start losing value for it. You know, and when you say no, people are like, what a dick. But outside of that, they're like, oh, he's fucking busy, or you know, they understand, they respect a no more than a yes. That's
Yeah, it's like.
and it sucks you had to go through like a health issue to like realize that, you know, but
I've also reached a turning point where I had to be very selective with who I let in my life. Like,
but how do you filter that?
it started mainly from the people that showed up to the hospital. I was like, okay, these are my real friends. They showed up.
How does a regular person, like, how does a person take your experience and apply it to their life without having to go through that extreme?
There was one of my good friends in particular. She didn't tell me this until we went to Babes Ride Out for the first time. Like, this was probably like a couple months after I got out of the hospital. And I just resumed riding my motorcycle again. And at that point, I was like, I just want to go everywhere. Went like to Baja. I went to Babes Ride Out for the first time. I went to the track like several months later. It's just, I just want to ride, like make up for lost time. Like, you lose a couple months of your life not being able to do something that you absolutely love. And then all of a sudden you're just like, I don't even want to sleep because I want to ride.
Yeah.
But one of my good friends, I asked her, I was like, hey, I know you have a really busy schedule, because she was studying for nursing school at the time. And my friend Rachel, she was like, I asked her out of the blue, I was like, hey, do you want to go to Babes Ride Out? I've never been. It's all women. We're all riding motorcycles. It's going to be a good time. And I honestly didn't think she'd say yes, because I knew how important it was for her to pass her exam to get her nursing license. She was like, dude, let's freaking go. And she rents a bike, she rents a Harley. We're like blasting our way up there. We're freezing our butts off. And she didn't tell me until after the trip. She was like, the only reason why I decided to go on this trip with you is because I whispered in your ear in the hospital, and I told you, when you get out of here, we're going to ride our motorcycles. And you pulled me close and you kissed my forehead and you said, I love you.
Wow.
And that's the reason why she came out.
Wow.
Because she came to my bed, because I hugged her with a very little energy that I had. I don't even remember that time because I was on so many drugs. But when she told me that memory, like after the trip, she's like, you inspire me so much that I wasn't going to say no to this opportunity. And I want to come here and I want to live these experiences with you. I want to go on these like incredible trips with you. Like, it made me realize how much I wasn't living too.
Yeah. Wow.
When people are just like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm doing this, that, and the other. But when do you make time for yourself to just go on an epic trip and share it with other people that really value your time and value your energy and value like your overall perspective in life. So that was just like a pivotal moment where I was like, wow, like as much as I was a giver, I had no idea how much I had a huge impact on someone that's like close to me. So for all of my friends were like, they even told me, and what I really want to do is just kind of interview everyone because I want to know what their reactions were like from the moment they learned I was hospitalized, or like how they felt when I was in the hospital. Like my best friend was in the same unit. She was one floor beneath me. Like I can't even imagine like being at work and learning that your best friend is hospitalized and they're in the ICU, one floor above you, and you're not.
Document it.
Yeah, well,
Document it. Write a book.
You're not the only person that mentioned that.
Yes, I am.
I'm
the only person documenting.
You are. You're the first. I started it.
Right. Whoever said it after the podcast.
Yeah.
No, you should do it.
When I got out of the hospital, some people were like, you should either write a book, do a documentary, or you should interview everyone. And I was like,
you have to understand. A lot of people are going to recommend these things. And the reason they're going to recommend these things is because they're fucking right. You don't need a publisher. You don't need an agent. You don't need fucking any. You can do it. Like I was having this conversation. I think it was with Jason, the episode I just released right now, the Weather Daddy. Jason.
That was great, by the way.
You heard it?
I've been watching the clips.
Yeah. The Weather Daddy. We were just talking about like how much shit, like sometimes how there's just not enough time in a day. But then it's like, dude, if you time manage and fucking start scheduling and get on like a good discipline, you can knock out a lot of shit.
Absolutely.
You can knock out. Because sometimes, like, I'll finish a week and I'll be like, whoa, I did a lot. Like, this week was satisfying. And then I really look back and I look at what was satisfying and how much work I get done. And I'm like, wait a minute. That was probably like 20 hours of, like, hard work. Like, once I got on it, I knock things out. You know?
And you just kind of get dialed in to once you find your groove and you create your system.
I always talk about the groove. Because you have to get into the fucking groove.
You develop your own system, and something that may take you like 20 hours in 1 week, all of a sudden you get it dialed in to where it takes like 15, 20 minutes max.
Yeah.
And like one of my really good friends, he's Josh, he does real estate, videography, and like media. And he's got it down to a T where he's like, I invited him to a car show, and like probably about like not even an hour or so afterwards, he's like, here, I put a clip together for you guys. And it's just like this phenomenal, like, fucking 2-minute video. I was like, this is freaking awesome. Like, I feel like putting something together like that would take me days. But he's had so much practice that, you know, he found his groove. He dialed it in. And just doing like a short clip edit from like a car show and just showed it to me and just like picked the song and everything. I was like, dude, that's freaking.
Yeah, no, I have moments where, you know, I'm just trying to learn something or understand something, and I can't it doesn't click. It doesn't click. I don't understand why. I'm gonna instead of going around, I'm gonna do it like individually because I don't comprehend how. But then you're like laying down in bed, and you're just like listening to a podcast or something, or you're just watching something, and then out of nowhere,
it comes out of nowhere.
Like, oh,
the light bulb turns on, and you're like, no.
But it's funny because somebody's explaining it to you. They're like, hey, if you put this here and like here, you'll get that, and you're like, oh.
Sometimes that's what it takes for someone to break that down for you, to have it be a little bit more relatable, and then within that moment, you're like, it is possible.
No, and it happens. It happens. Like, you know, when I was going to school, it would happen. Like sometimes I'd be learning a topic or something. I'm like, what the I don't, you know, like
it's like your attention.
Just like, yeah, it's like
it's very short.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm not going to remember any of this.
It's that night or the next day, it just clicks, and you're like, oh, I'm a fucking genius, dude.
Gonna ace my test.
Fuck, you know? And it's funny because that was my school habit. My school habit was I was really bad at like homework, but I was great at presenting, you know, especially like back in the days, like, you know, fucking when I went to high school, computers, like PowerPoint. Well, PowerPoints stuff. Just kind of came out to the school, you know, like, and nobody knew how to fucking do them. But like, it clicked with me. I understood it. So I wouldn't do any homework, but I'd do these awesome PowerPoint presentations that people were like, "Oh my God, how did he do that?" And I'm like, click, and like, whoa, you know, I was like,
sound effects and all.
It was so ridiculous with the fucking rolling TV and like, anyways, and I'd kick ass, and that's just kind of how my brain's always.
You found your niche.
I found,
in education.
And then same thing with you were talking about your friend of having these moments of these valuable moments of realization of exploring. That's the only reason I do this fucking podcast. There's only two things I get out of this podcast. One, I get fucking cool people like you to sit down here and I get to say, "Hey, do me a favor, turn off your fucking phone, please. Put it on mute. Put it on mute. Let's have one. Put on these headphones. Speak close to the mic. Let's talk. Let's talk." I get these private conversations, and two, every now and then I get a fucking message from somebody around the world or somebody in my phone book or something, just like, "Dude, you know what you said or what they said, or you know, I didn't know that." Or I had an episode with Dutch. Dutch did from Bike Shed.
Yeah.
He did an episode with some big YouTube channel, and they talk triumphs and like, you know, blah blah blah, you know, like fucking crazy stuff. He didn't get much feedback from it, you know. It did really good. This was the second time I've had Dutch on. I was gonna talk all bike shit with Dutch. As soon as I pushed record, we didn't talk anything about bike shit. It was just health.
That's how every single conversation is.
And the reason I bring this up is because he calls me and he's like, "I did this huge channel, Triumph, you know, in Europe, YouTube thing, and I've heard more feedback from your podcast than that podcast." And the one that touched me was there's a guy that was like overweight, and we got into the whole sugar topic and health and carbs and diabetic, etc. That the guy quit sugar because of that episode, you know, and is going into a new diet and is focusing on his health and trying to get into fitness and that. And
that's all it takes, though.
But that's all it takes, and it's
you'll have like that aha moment. Like the moment you watch something and like it touches your soul, where you're like, you know what, I do need to change something about my life. I do need to pull myself out of this hole. I do need to get out of this slump. Like, stop living this way and just embrace change. And we're at an hour and a half. No way.
Yeah, wait. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this.
That went by so fast,
dude. I
didn't even touch the green.
I know. No, it's that I had my thing silenced for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I just got a notification. I'm like, why am I getting a notification? Then I look, an hour and 24 minutes and 25 seconds.
Gosh. That just flew by.
Like, we haven't even finished the water. Like, I don't know.
I did. I just one last sip.
Michelle, I know I'm going to have you on again, and I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate you coming out. Yeah. We talked about this maybe
driving
2
through the
weeks
rain.
ago.
That means a lot.
Driving through
LA traffic in the rain.
Oh my God. It took you like a week to get here. Right. No, I appreciate you sharing your stories.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, of course. And maybe we'll get you on as soon as, I don't know, like a couple weeks, get some episodes in between. And
that's fine. Yeah. I'd be more than happy to come back and have more realization moments.
That's what it's about. Thank you,
Excellent.
Michelle. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.